Check one. Yes, let's get at it. It is I, it is he, no other than Minister Joe. Yeah, I am excited. I am thrilled. I'm happy for another edition of our spiritual huddle. Here in the huddle, y'all, this is where we get God's game plan to go into the world to execute God's will. Yes, in our huddle, y'all, it is going down today. I'm excited, y'all, as we continue our series on God's superheroes. God is calling for you, He's calling for I to be superheroes. Go out into the world to help save His people. Last week, we talked about Ant-Man versus Two Fish and 5 pieces of bread. Please go back and check it out and give it a like, give it a share button. And then today's huddle, y'all, we have a personal favorite of mine, one of my favorite superheroes of all time. We have Wolverine. Yes, Wolverine, the man of the X-Men. Wolverine versus dun 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 dun, Job. Yes, Wolverine versus Job. I believe that these two have something in common. They both could teach us a lesson about how to survive and also how to be better superheroes for God. So let's dig into our lesson today as we have Wolverine versus Job. I believe there's a few things that we can learn here. How to be a better superhero. I believe both of them teach us about long suffering. I know people like suffer. Yes, I know suffering it get hard. I know people don't like to talk about it. But the thing about it, in the midst of this long suffering, in the end, we have victory. In other words, we're gonna win. And they both teach us about how to endure and how to not throw in the towel, how to not quit, how to keep on fighting the good fight before we can be able to reach victory. So let's see here. What is long suffering? Long suffering is having or showing patience in spite of all the trouble, in spite of all the things that's going around us. I think we all can see things that's going around us. It's a lot of things that's going on that's crazy. But yet we must endure to the end. Because we endure to the end, like I already mentioned, we're going to have victory. Having or showing patience in the spite of trouble. That's what long suffering is. Suffering is basically having endurance. It's the ability to withstand attacks, insults, even physical abuse now and then. But I mean, is you able to endure? Guess what? We can make it to the promised land, make it to victory, make it to the winner circle, make it to the top of the mountain. Whatever cliche you need me to say, we can make it, we can win it. Because unfortunately, y'all, sometimes as Christians, there will be some days that are just bad or just hard to deal with. It's not always easy. But becoming a Christian doesn't mean that your life is going to be perfect. There will be some disappointment. There will be some moments that make you want to cry. There'll be some moments that was heartbroken, make you mad. Be some moments that make you sad. But don't mean that you ought to quit. Don't mean that you ought to turn around and say, you know what, I don't want to be a Christian no more. No, it's saying, guess what? If you learn how to endure to the end, things will turn around for your favor. I am so excited. So let's look at Wolverine. Wolverine, y'all, he takes a beating in every fighting scene he always go through. The reason why he takes this beating because he has this special power to allow him to heal, even in the midst of the battle. So no matter how much you wound him, he healed. So in the midst of his battle, it's almost like the punch. He'll take 5 punches just to get his one punch off. He's able to withstand and it allow him to be able to defeat his enemy because he know he has the ability to withstand any attack that they may bring on him. So how do he compare to Job? Job don't be fighting, do it. Nah, it ain't necessarily a physical fight, but it's a spiritual fight. Job shows us, y'all, he was able to withstand a lot to be able to reach victory. So let's jump into Job. Let's look at Job's story real quick. The Bible right off the bat in Job chapter 1, verse 1, it tells us who exactly Job is. It lets us know that he is a God-fearing man. He's a man who stayed away from evil. God-fearing, it don't mean that he was fearful, he was scared, but God-fearing, man, he's somebody who obeyed the rules of God. He listened and he did what was right. He did the right things. And so that what type of man that Job is. Job is someone who did the right things. He stayed away from doing bad things. And not only do they tell us that he did the right things, they also tell me that Job had some money, y'all. Job was balling. He had rats on rats, money to the ceiling. Because the Bible tells us right here in verse 2 through 3 that he had 7 sons and 3 daughters, 7,000 sheep and goats, 3,000 camels, 1,000 ox, 500 donkeys, and a large number of servants. And also told that he was one of the most influential persons in the Middle East. So he was somebody of importance. People knew him. When he walked around, people pointed because they knew he meant something. He stood for something. But then all of a sudden, that's where the story twists, y'all. Y'all ready? God and Satan began talking to each other. I almost like to imagine it's like they're texting each other back and forth. You know how you text your friend back and forth? So you see here, God said to Satan, "What are you doing, Satan?" Satan answered, "Well, doing evil stuff like always. I just been walking around here, roaming the earth." I'm at verse 7 through 12 too, just in case you want to keep up with me. I'm paraphrasing though. And then, after asking him, telling him, like, after Satan told him God what he been doing, he said, since you've been roaming the earth so much, did you ever notice my servant Job? Job asked, "Well, yeah, I noticed him." Then God said, there's no one on earth as faithful as Job, for he worshiped me. He also makes sure that he do not do anything evil. Satan then replied, yes, Job worship you, but he worship you because guess what? You give him a lot. You gave him all the camels, you gave him all the sheep, goats, ox, donkeys, you gave him a good family, you gave him all this stuff. He's a man of influence. You gave him all this good stuff. But I bet if you take away that stuff, he will curse you. All right, that's what God said. Lord said to Satan, everything he has is in your powers, but you must not hurt Job himself. So then Satan left. That's Job, the first chapter, the 7th through the 12th verse. Remember all the stuff that Job has now. So Job had all this good stuff, and Satan's basically saying, guess what? He will curse you, God, if you take away his stuff. So let me see right here off the bat, verse 14. Job, he loses all his ox and all his donkeys. So we scratch that out the list. Then verse 16 let us know that lightning came and killed all his sheep. So scratch that off the list. Verse 17 said he lost all of his camels. Scratch that off the list. And verse 19 tells us, guess what? He lost all of his children. Oh man, Job was hurt. He was disappointed. He was sad. He had grief. He was hurt. But with all those bad things happening to him, with all the money that he lost, all the people that he's lost, because his servant got killed as well, all the ox, all the donkeys, all the sheep, all the camels, he never lost his faith. To be a God superhero, y'all, we must remain faithful no matter what. Remain faithful even when things are just simply going bad. Job provided excellent example for us, y'all, how to endure to the end. But I'm so glad that Job's life does not end there. Yes, he lost all of that stuff, even lost his health. But guess what? Job remained faithful to God, and God rewarded Job's faithfulness. I want us to skip all the way over. I know we're in chapter 1. Skip all the way over to Job 42. Let's go to the end of his story, because his story don't end at Job 1. I'm letting you know, guess what? You may have some bad days, but guess what? Your story do not end on that bad day. For that, like they always say, joy will come in the morning. Job 42, verse 12. It tells me that the Lord blessed the last part of Job's life even more than he had blessed the first part of his life. For Job owned 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 2,000 cattle, and over 1,000 donkeys. Job's ability to remain faithful, his ability to endure the long suffering, he was rewarded. Job received double for his trouble. He had a setback, but it's only put him in position for a greater comeback. I'm letting you know right now, my next generation, guess what? To be a God superhero, days ain't always going to be perfect. But when they're not perfect, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't say, you know what, I'm done with this. Endure it. Because I promise you, once you endure it, you will be rewarded. That's the word of God for the people of God. So all my superheroes out there, put on your cape. Stay in the fight. And don't give up. Be blessed. This is Minister Joe with our spiritual huddle.